Hi, it's Jamie, Progressive's #1, #2 employee. Leave a message at the... Hey, Jamie, it's me, Jamie. This is your daily pep talk. I know it's been rough going ever since people found out about your a cappella group, Mad Harmony, but you will bounce back. I mean, you're the guy always helping people find coverage options with the Name Your Price tool. It should be you giving me the pep talk. Now get out there, hit that high note, and take Mad Harmony all the way to nationals this year! Sorry, it's pitchy.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Football represents something we are. Football is like life. You gotta push.
Fantasy football is about proving that you are better than your friends.
Hold up.
Welcome to the Fantasy Football Faceoff.
I'm gonna do what's best for the team.
Where fantasy meets reality.
Pure fantasy football nirvana.
And now your hosts.
Let the games begin.
Anthony Cervino and Michael Hoff.
And welcome back to the FF Faceoff, where fantasy meets reality. It is always great to have you with us for an absolutely loaded SuperFlex mock draft edition of the most electrifying fantasy football podcast on the planet, which is now part of the brand new full-time fantasy podcast network. And as always, we have a lot to talk about right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, the best in the world!
Coming to you live from the FF Faceoff studio at the beautiful Jersey Shore, I am your host, Anthony Cervino. Be sure to follow me on Twitter at The Real NFL Guru. And while you're at it, don't forget to follow the show at the FF Faceoff as well. You can find us on all of the top social media platforms. If you're watching us right now on YouTube, Twitter, Periscope, Twitch, or Facebook Live, welcome to the big show. And if you're joining us right now in podcast format on iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Spotify, Spreaker, TuneIn, Amazon Alexa, Player FM, Google Podcasts, or Apple Podcasts, thanks for stopping by. But before we get into the action, here is our public service announcement from His Lordship.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
All right, guys, you know the drill. If you like today's episode and subscribe to the channel, please leave us a comment saying that you have subscribed, and once you're done, we will reply back to as many as we can to show our appreciation to you. You know, I always like to remind you that we are a cost-free production here at the FF Faceoff, but just because we are a cost-free production, that doesn't mean that a lot of time doesn't go into our efforts in terms of preparation, pre-production, post-production, and research. And because we do bring you a cost-free program, all we ask for in return is for some cost-free engagements to help us grow our fan base and our community. These engagements are things that you can do right now as you're listening to the show on your podcast player or watching the show in video format on YouTube or anywhere else. Every time somebody likes an episode, anytime somebody subscribes and hits the alert icon so you can be notified anytime that we are live or upload. Anytime somebody shares our content or leaves us an oh so important 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts, it not only helps us reach more of you, but all of your engagements and interactions never go unnoticed. We see our podcast analytics booming. We see the YouTube analytics slowly creeping up, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But I do want to say that we appreciate that wholeheartedly. And before I forget, if you ever want to skip the public service announcement and jump to a certain talking point or segment, all you have to do is go into the description and check out the timestamps. If you're watching in a desktop player, click the timestamp and it will take you to the part of the show you want to go to. But if you're listening on any podcast player or YouTube mobile or watching YouTube on a mobile device, these timestamps do not work, which is a YouTube problem, not a me problem. So please take it up with them. But the timestamps still serve a purpose because all you have to do is take your player bar, your listening or video bar, and drag it to the time you want to go to. Everybody wins.
And that's an order.
So I want to address something. We see a lot of outstanding 5-star ratings and reviews, people telling us why they enjoy the show and this and that. And we see these great engagements on social media, and then it comes to YouTube, and we see a lot of good, but every now and then we see a bad comment coming in. And they all seem to come from YouTube, and I ask myself why. Well, the YouTube audience, and I know you guys are probably going to kill me for telling the truth, but usually the YouTube audience are younger, millennials, they don't want to take a lot of time. I see complaints about time. We are a podcast that brings you a video stream. We are not a video service. We are not going to, and we try to bring you these short YouTube special 5-10 minute videos, but that's just not me. That is not the FF Faceoff. These people want, a 5-minute video covering 10 players, and if you think you're going to get proper analysis in 5, 10, 15 minutes, I don't know. That's just not how I believe things work. And I guess that comes with age, that you need to put time into something to excel at it. Can't get everything done in 5 minutes. Women like foreplay. They don't want to just jump into bed. They want to be wooed. They want the foreplay. And it's like this younger generation. They want to skip all that, get a couple pumps in, and go back to watching other people play Fortnite. You're never going to grow and learn rushing around in life. So maybe this isn't for you. And I do want to acknowledge the latest troll, if you will, saying that this is terrible. And I said, why is this terrible? He doesn't like the sound of my voice. And I enjoy the sound of my own voice. It has grown on me in the past 34 years. And considering that this podcast has been around going into our 3rd season, and it is starting to grow at a rapid pace, I assume that other people also enjoy the sound of my voice, and at worst, they at least enjoy my championship-winning content. So there's that. Take that how you will, but I just had to get it off my chest because I just can't sit here and be that nice guy behind the desk, because that's just not how it is. You have to tell the truth in life, and that's okay. Now that that's all out of the way...
No, I'm just getting warmed up.
Let's get into our SuperFlex mock draft.
Let's get ready to rumble!
So we do a lot of mock drafts on this show, especially at this time of the year when the NFL players have about a month off. The mini camps and OTAs, the mandatory stuff in June, that's all over. And now there's going to be a little bit of a lull. And we are going to pick back up in July with training camp. Preseason. And then September comes around. And boom, the NFL season is here. So we'll probably bring you a couple of extra mocks, trying to cover different formats and different settings. And today... we are going to do a redraft SuperFlex, 19-man roster. I am going to take the 6th pick in this draft, and we are going to use the Sleeper Bot app, the Sleeper app. And if you're listening in podcast format and actually want to watch the draft, go to our YouTube channel and you will see pick by pick right on the screen. So now that this is up, the settings are up, and I am going to try to begin this draft. And I love the Sleeper app. I'm more or less an MFL guy, but I am starting to really enjoy how Sleeper does things. I like their mocks, especially how user-friendly their mocks are in mobile format. So if you haven't yet, go grab the, download the Sleeper app on your phone, and I think you're going to fall in love with it just as much as I have in the past year. So begin draft. David Johnson, Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey, Kamara, and Melvin Gordon are all off the board, which means my guy Ezekiel Elliott is sitting right here for me. And I'm shocked that Zeke is available here at the 6th pick. But, this is PPR, and the more trustworthy pass-catching backs, if you will, went ahead of Zeke, even though Zeke flashed and really began to peak as a pass catcher last year. David Johnson, who is expected to bounce back, he's going to be playing on a better offense, an Arizona offense that has reportedly said they want to break the record for most plays ran. So great pick by David Johnson, who has been slowly creeping up my rankings right around the RB5 spot. Saquon goes 2, Christian McCaffrey, Kamara. Melvin Gordon is a surprise one here, especially ahead of Zeke. And yes, of course, I am going to take Zeke. After Zeke, my guy Joe Mixon, first 7-pick running backs, my kind of draft. And then Devontae Adams goes ahead of DeAndre Hopkins, Thomas, Le'Veon Bell, Julio Jones, OBJ at the turn, Juju, Kelsey, Connor Gurley, Damien Williams, and now it's back to me. Let me tell you something. Damien Williams is one of my guys. I would have absolutely positively taken him right now. But Dalvin Cook is still here. If you listen to the show, you know I'm not a Dalvin Cook guy because I don't trust him. I'd rather take the shot on Leonard Fournette later. Wide receiver-wise, you still have an Antonio Brown, Mike Evans, Thielen, Cooper, Amari. This is a really interesting spot to be in. We already had the tight end go off the board. Let's look at these running backs again. Oof. 2nd round, too early for Fournette. This is SuperFlex. Do I go quarterback or do I wait? I think I'm going to go receiver, and I think I'm going to go with, I'm going to roll the dice with Antonio Brown, and I've been doing a lot of mocks where I am starting seemingly with Zeke and Brown, which I don't mind, but I always do want to see how my teams look if I go with a Mike Evans or maybe if I go with a Zach Ertz or a Kittle there. So then Dalvin Cook, Chubb, Mike Evans, Fournette, Hilton, Thielen, Marlon Mack, Freeman, Keenan Allen, Mahomes, and now it's back to me. That Fournette, that was my pick. I usually like loading up on running back. We also saw Mahomes go, as I said. This is SuperFlex. But Amari Cooper's still on the board. You know how I feel about Cooper. I think he is poised for a huge year. I think that's the direction I am going to go to. But here's Kittle and Ertz. You know what? I'm going to go Cooper. I'm going to fade the tight end into this round. Let's see what happens. Going against my normal strategy, going with 2 wide receivers earlier with 1 running back, I tend to like my 3-down bell cow running backs first. Josh Jacobs, Kittle, Kerryon, Diggs, Ertz, AJ Green, Tyreek Hill, who is not getting charged but is likely going to see a suspension of some sort as he remains on the commissioner's exempt list. He goes at 4.1 at the turn. Woods, Montgomery, Aaron Jones, Cooper Kupp, Derrick Henry, and now back to me. Only one quarterback off the board. Here's me at running back, and running backs are going early and often in this draft. I can't pass up my guy, Kenyon Drake, because I know I'm not going to get him back. I am normally getting him into the 5th round. So taking him in the mid-4th isn't bad, because you do know, if you listen to the show, I think Kenyon Drake is going to have a career year. He has RB1 upside written all over him. He finished as the RB14 in PPR last year while only getting 7.5 touches per game. Very explosive in the open field and in the passing game. I cannot wait to see what Kenyon Drake does in 2019. Calvin Ridley, Edelman, Ingram, Lindsey, Luck, Cooks, Sony Michel, Aaron Rodgers, Galladay, Lockett. Now back to me. I have 2 backs, 2 receivers. I absolutely positively love Chris Godwin, who is sitting here waiting for me. I am going to wait one more round to take my quarterback, and let's see what happens. Only 3 quarterbacks off the board: Mahomes, Luck, Rodgers. I'm going to take my Chris Godwin stock here. After Godwin, Sammy Watkins, Geis, Baker Mayfield, James White. Another one creeping up in the ADP a little bit. Chris Carson, Tarek Cohen, Landry at the turn, Boyd, Mike Williams, Hunter Henry, Coleman, O.J. Howard. I'm going to get my quarterback now, Deshaun Watson. Watson, on a lot of rankings, is the 2nd best quarterback in the consensus rankings over at Fantasy Pro. That could be fluctuating with luck a little bit. You saw the veterans and Mayfield go ahead of him. It's going to be hard for me to not take Deshaun Watson at this point, but let's just see what's at tight end. Evan Ingram and Ebron are still there. O.J. Howard and Hunter Henry went before. I picked running backs, Darrell Henderson, Miller, Penny. I'm going to wait another round. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Deshaun Watson, because I did not expect him to be here waiting for me in the 6th round. After Watson, Darrell Henderson, Evan Ingram, DJ Moore, Matt Ryan, Lamar Miller, Ebron, Cook, Jeffrey, Robbie Anderson, Vance McDonald, one of my tight ends I absolutely positively love. If you go back and listen to the past 2 or 3 shows in the archive, you will hear why I am super high on Vance. Too early for me to grab another quarterback, so I'm going to look elsewhere, look at the tight ends that are still on the board. Those, mid to late tight end ones, the ones that I really like, the Vance McDonald and Jared Cook, they're gone. And Njoku, Hooper, Hawkinson, Gronk, sleeper bot, still did not take Gronk out. Ooh, this is tough. I am going to wait on tight end again, because I'm not in love with Njoku, and it's too early for me to take Hooper. At wide receiver now, couple of guys that I like. Let's look at running back. We're looking at Rashad Penny or Kareem Hunt. You know I have Zeke and Drake. I think I am going to take a shot at Rashad Penny here. You know what? Scratch that. I'm going to go with Kareem Hunt. I can't. I keep going back and forth. I'm indecisive. I think Hunt is going to return mid-season, and he could be a league winner, because this guy is a top 5, top 8 back earlier in his career, before he got in all sorts of trouble last season and took this suspension. So we're looking at Zeke, Hunt, and Kenyon Drake. You can make the case that they're all RB1s, or at least for Drake, a fringe RB1, and for Hunt, an RB1 when he plays a full 16. I did like receivers at that point. Christian Kirk, one of them who went after Hunt, Kyler Murray, Penny, Breeze, Allen Robinson, Will Fuller, Latavius Murray, Wentz and Keel Harry, Geronimo Allison, Jordan Howard, Pettis. The 2 receivers that I really, really liked and probably should have went with are off the board. But there is still some wide receiver talent. I do need a tight end. I do need another quarterback, but there is still some quarterback depth there. I'll probably be targeting Dak in another round or so, depending on how the quarterbacks go off the board. No tight ends off the board since my last pick, and Njoku and Hooper still sitting there, so I will wait again. And I'm going to take a shot here with a rookie wide receiver, and I'm going to go DK Metcalf. All the reports are suggesting DK Metcalf looks every bit of the part, and those reports are coming out of Russell Wilson's mouth. Wilson is saying that DK Metcalf looks like a special player. I get that they're in shells and shoulder pads and shorts, so anybody can look good now, but it's better than what we're seeing out of N'Keal Harry in New England when they are saying he's making mental mistakes and lining up in the wrong spot and isn't really looking too good early on. So I'm going to go DK Metcalf, a high boom-bust variance player, but if he's a hit, he can really improve my team or anybody else's. Royce Freeman, Russell Wilson, Ronald Jones, who is getting the hype a little bit out of Tampa Bay due to the coaching change and an expected better offense. Golden Tate, Miles Sanders, Fitzgerald, Larry, Marvin Jones, David Njoku, LaShawn McCoy, Kiki QT, a great value at 9.5, a player that I would have loved to pair with my Deshaun Watson stock. Time to start looking at other quarterbacks, Goff, Newton, Winston. You know, you can wait all day. Dak Prescott is buried. So I can wait all day if I wanted to here. Excuse me, considering this is SuperFlex. I might take my tight end now, Austin Hooper. I think that's going to be the way to go. Austin Hooper is getting Dirk Cutter, and we saw what Dirk Cutter's tight ends did in Tampa Bay, whether it was Brait or O.J. Howard. Highly productive. Hooper is coming off a breakout season, and I think Austin Hooper, who had his breakout season despite the presence of Calvin Ridley, Mohamed Sanu, Julio Jones, I think Austin Hooper is going to continue to be a key component of this offense. So I'm going to take Austin Hooper in the 9th. After Hooper was Jared Goff, Mecole Hardman, Sterling Shepard, Corey Davis, McKinnon, Foreman, Eckler, Cam Newton, Jalen Samuel, Ito Smith, James Washington, Tom Brady, another quarterback. So 3 quarterbacks since I last picked. Now I am up. Let's look at the receivers. Cortland Sutton, D.D. Westbrook, Emmanuel Sanders. Nothing I'm super in love with. Is it time to take quarterback yet? I am going to risk one more go around. Let's see what we have in terms of running back. Carlos Hyde, Adrian Peterson, Devin Singletary, Madison. I think I am going to, it might be a little early, but I want another running back. And a couple of rookies here, Hyde, Peterson, the veterans. Devin Singletary might be too early for him. I'm going to take a shot on a player from the Baltimore Ravens. I am going to reach for him a little bit, I think. It might be too early. I really like Justice Hill here, but can I justify it? Instead, I am going to take another receiver. I'm torn between D.D. Westbrook and Curtis Samuel. I think I'm going to go Curtis Samuel, who could be a sleeper here in the 10th round. He is going to be a huge part of this Panthers offense. He's versatile. He can not only catch passes and make plays in the open field, but they also like to give him a couple of carries a game, which we did see him score on last year. So I'm going to go Curtis Samuel. I feel like it was a little too early to go Justice Hill. Jameis Winston, or Cortland Sutton, Winston, D.D. Westbrook, Deshaun Jackson, Hyde, Sanders, Peterson, Tyrell Williams, Singletary, Hockenson, all off the board. Now it is back to me. I think I'm going to go Dak. There's Rivers, Mr. Consistency. There's Ben Roethlisberger, who could be primed for a regression. Jimmy Garoppolo, we don't know a lot about. Josh Allen, Dak, and Cousins. If I do address running back, right, let's say I take a Justice Hill now and wait one more round on quarterback, will Dak get to me, or can I be happy with whatever else is left? And that's the predicament that I'm in right now. I think I'm going to go my running back. I think I am going to take Justice Hill. A little early, but I am super in love with this kid. I love the opportunity Justice Hill has in Baltimore with a 29-year-old, and I know he signed that offseason contract, but Mark Ingram is 29 years old. If he doesn't look like his explosive self, and there's Gus Edwards sitting there too, but Gus Edwards is an empty in the passing game, you can really make the case that Justice Hill is in line for a pretty significant workload in his rookie year. Here's that quarterback run I was talking about. I took Hill, and then Crowell went sleeper. This is on you. Crowell should not be on your draft boards right now. It's killing this ADP. Ben Roethlisberger, Garoppolo, MVS, Paris Campbell, whom I love. Rivers, Josh Allen, Baldwin should be out of here. Rob Gronkowski should be out of here. So 3 players who are either retired or not playing this season were just taken since the last time I was picked. Sleeper, you absolutely positively must fix this mistake. You are killing me. Nyheim Hines, Madison, Peyton Barber.
He's gonna puke! He's gonna puke! He's gonna puke!
And now I'm going to take my quarterback. And it's Dak Prescott, obviously. I was waiting for him. I could have taken him for the past couple of rounds, but he slipped all the way down to the 12th. Super happy about Dak being there because the last couple of mocks I've done, I waited too long to take him, and he was gone. You know, Dak has scored 6 rushing touchdowns in each of his first 3 years in the NFL, which raises his rushing floor. And anytime you have a fantasy quarterback with a raised rushing floor, it's a little bit of protection in case they have a bad day throwing. Dak is that guy. He finished as a QB1 also in each of his first 3 years in the league. And now he's going to have Amari Cooper for a full 16 with Zeke. Can't wait to see what my Cowboys offense does. As you can see, I'm stacking Dak, Cooper, and Zeke. I am expecting a juggernaut. Damian Harris, another rookie running back who I am falling in love with, goes after Dak. I think Damian Harris, considering Sony Michel has already had his knee scoped, and they're already saying that he can push Michel for early down touches, I think Damian Harris in New England is going to be busier than people think. Anthony Miller, Jai, who remains unsigned. Delaney Walker, who I love if he can stay healthy. Deion Lewis, Deshaun Hamilton, Andy Isabella, a really good sleeper rookie from Arizona. You heard what I said about David Johnson and the Cardinals. They want to set the record for plays run. I think they are going to pass a ton. This air raid system is going to be tremendous. I don't know if Cliff Kingsbury is going to be a successful NFL coach, but I do believe his offense is going to be a force to reckon with. Duke Johnson and Devin Funchess, who I wanted. I wanted Devin Funchess at this spot. He goes just ahead of me. I am looking at running backs. I am looking at receivers right now. Ooh, Marquise Brown, Dante Moncrief. He could be the starter in Pittsburgh. Let's look what other running backs are here. Some tough names at running back, but I think I'm going to add Jamal Williams from the Green Bay Packers. I was auto-picked here, but Williams was going to be the guy. He was going to be my choice because I want to, have that handcuff in case Aaron Jones goes down. And we have seen Aaron Jones miss time in the past. Chris Thompson, an unsigned receiver, goes. Gio Bernard, Marquise Brown, the rookie wideout, who I would have taken instead of Williams if I didn't have DK Metcalf already. I try to stay away from the high variance boom-bust rookie picks. Or at least getting more than one or two. Kirk Cousins, Greg Olsen, Jack Doyle, Rob Kelly, Mike Davis, Breida, Jordan Reed. There goes Moncrief, Jimmy Graham. A couple of good quarterbacks left, so I'm not going to take a third quarterback just yet. Let's look at other tight ends. I already have Austin Hooper. Trey Burton is sitting there, who if you listen to the show, you know how I feel about Trey Burton. I think he's being severely undervalued right now. Tough go with remaining running backs. Not the best names out there. Let's look at receivers again. There's Enunwa. I think Enunwa might be the guy. But let's hold on a second. There's Enunwa. Devontae Parker is intriguing. There's Jamison Crowder. I think I'm going to go Deebo Samuel. And I said, I wanted to stay away from the high variance boom-bust receivers, and that would be like a McCole Hardman, a DK Metcalf who I already have, and a Marquise Brown, and they're high variance. Well, at least Brown is a high variance, and McCole Hardman, because you don't know how much playing time they were going to get, speaking to Hardman. And with Brown, you have the issue of Lamar Jackson. Is he going to develop into a passer? I like Deebo Samuel because as long as Jimmy Garoppolo stays healthy, he's a more stable player at quarterback. Which is going to make Deebo Samuel a pretty good fantasy asset if he can stay healthy. Right now, he's dealing with a hip injury, missed some early time, and I'm killing him for that in some of the previous shows because if he starts missing time into training camp and all of a sudden the rapport with Jimmy Garoppolo isn't going to be there and he's going to be playing catch-up. And that's something I am monitoring with a Miles Sanders and his hamstring and a Deebo Samuel. But as of now, they're saying Deebo's injury isn't serious and he is expected to play at camp. And he is also expected to open the year as a starter opposite Dante Pettis. And so that's why I went Deebo Samuel there. Sam Bradford, another player who shouldn't be here. CJ Anderson, Trubisky, Jackson, Burton, Malcolm Brown, Josh Gordon, Fant, Burkhead. Now it is back to me. Some tough running backs out there. Let's look at tight end. Let's look at quarterback. Now is probably the time, if I do want to take another quarterback to protect myself. I might pull the trigger now, but there's still some pretty good depth left. I'm going to wait. Instead, I am going to take a tight end. Tight end is getting thin, and I'm going to take Chris Herndon. Despite the fact that he is facing a 2-game or a 4-game suspension, I think Chris Herndon is going to be a featured part of this Jets offense. He looked like he had a developing rapport with Sam Darnold, especially in the second half of 2018. I think that's going to continue once he gets back on the field. After Herndon, Hakeem Bustler, as the great Podfather likes to call him, Eifert, Quincy Enunwa, Balaj Gord, Chris Thompson, the running back, Dallas Goedert, Gus Edwards, Darwin Thompson, Randall Cobb, A.J. Brown, Devontae Parker, all off the board. My pick here in the 16th round. I think I'm going to go running back here. And, we all know about Leonard Fournette's issues staying on the field, so I think this is the spot where I want to take the player that is expected to be his direct backup, and that's going to be the rookie Raquel Armstead. Should Leonard Fournette go down, I don't know how much trust that the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to put into Alfred Blue and Benny Cunningham. There's no more TJ Yeldon. They didn't re-sign Corey Grant, to my knowledge. So Raquel Armstead could be that handcuff, that late-round handcuff that could see significant time if Leonard Fournette goes down again, as we are accustomed to him seeing, or as we're accustomed to seeing from him. Spoke backwards there. Kenny Stills, Humphreys, Jalen Richard, Crowder, Carr, Darnold, Foles, Safarian Jenkins, who is no longer in the league. Another one, sleeper, wake up. Traquan Smith, Matthew Stafford. This is when, with all these quarterbacks gone, now I am absolutely positively taking a third quarterback to protect myself. This is SuperFlex. You really should, if you're playing in SuperFlex or 2 quarterback, you really want to make sure you roster a third and don't roll that dice. I did that last year with Jimmy Garoppolo, where, Cousins were my 2 quarterbacks, and once Garoppolo went down, I spent a lot to get, to get Bradford. Then Bradford went down. It was just a big, poop show. I didn't want to curse, so I said poop show. Yeah, I said it. Andy Dalton, he's my pick in the 17th. I expect huge things from Andy Dalton and the Bengals offense in 2019. If everybody can stay healthy, including the line, the Bengals could be a sleeper team to either win the AFC North or at least contend for a wild card. People are sleeping on the Bengals, and they really shouldn't. Robert Foster, Marquise Goodwin, Demaryius Thomas, John Brown, Marquise Lee, Witten, Alex Collins, who remains unsigned, Zay Jones, who was a hell of a pick in the 18th round of any draft, DeMarcus Robinson, Aguilar, Phil Dorsett, Travis Benjamin, and now it is back to me as we are winding down this draft. And right now, I'm going to go for, I think I want a little bit more upside, or I want to find a gem. And there is a few nice players sitting here. Sanu, despite playing in a crowded offense, Sanu seems to have his weeks where he really pops off. There's Doxson, Cole Beasley, but the player that I want here is Albert Wilson, who could very well be the wide receiver one for the Miami Dolphins, because, come on, it's not Kenny Stills, is it? Are we really going to bank on Devontae Parker? So if Albert Wilson, who exploded for a couple of weeks before he suffered a season-ending injury, if Albert Wilson can stay on the field and produce, what tremendous value in the 18th round, one of my favorite late-round picks, and you already know, I praised the Zay Jones pick a few picks ago. Willie Snead, Ginn, Beasley, Callaway, Crabtree, who remains unsigned, another fault of sleeper. Elijah McGuire, Brashad Perriman, Kendrick Bourne, and now for my Mr. Irrelevant pick. Let's look at some running backs. And right now, there's not a lot at all. So, Chase Edmonds. Yesterday there was some news coming from Arizona saying that Chase Edmonds is going to have a role. I don't expect him to take a lot of touches away from David Johnson. But if they're saying he's going to get some snaps, and with the fact that David Johnson, he's not exactly... it's not like he hasn't missed games in the past, so why not roll the dice on a Mr. Irrelevant pick like Chase Edmonds, especially since he's in the news and getting talked up by Arizona brass. The draft is going to conclude with Smallwood, Gallup, Gabriel, Ross, Higgins, and Amendola. Let's check out my team. This way you guys can rip me apart, because I know you love to do that so much, and I appreciate that too. I appreciate the bad with the good. Ezekiel Elliott, Antonio Brown, Cooper, Kenyon Drake, Godwin, Deshaun Watson, Kareem Hunt, DK Metcalf, Austin Hooper, Curtis Samuel, Justice Hill, my guy, Dak Prescott, Jamal Williams, Deebo Samuel, Chris Herndon, Raquel Armstead, Andy, the Red Rifle Dalton, Albert Wilson, and Chase Edmonds. That'll do it for today's mock draft.
Championship.
I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you did, please like the video and tell me in the comments section if you did enjoy it. If you're listening to us right now in podcast format on iHeartRadio, Tuner, Spotify, Stitcher, Spreaker, Player FM, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and especially you Apple Podcast users, or any user of a podcast platform that allows you to leave us a 5-star rating and review. Please subscribe to the FF Faceoff. Please leave us a 5-star rating, telling everyone, and 5-star rating and review, telling everyone why you love the FF Faceoff and why we are the best damn fantasy football podcast where fantasy meets reality. Thank you. Thank you. Because the more subscriptions, ratings, and reviews that we get, the more people we can reach. And in the end, we want to help each and every one of you win fantasy football championships, dominate your leagues, and absolutely positively crush the competition. We will maintain the culture of winning we've built here in the FF Faceoff for over 200 episodes and over close to 3 years since our inception. My name is Anthony Cervino. Be sure to follow me on Twitter at The Real NFL Guru. Follow the show at the FF Faceoff. Check us out and check out all of the other programming at the Full-Time Fantasy Podcast Network. Go to fulltimefantasy.com and go to the navigation bar, pull it down, and you'll see the podcast section. We have over 24 hours of weekly content that will fill all of your fantasy football needs at Full-Time Fantasy. Look out in the future. I will be doing a show, producing a show, moonlighting on a show with the great Dr. Roto from Full-Time Fantasy, formerly Scout Fantasy. So look out for that. I'm super excited. I was just on Doc's show on the Fantasy Network. Spent a few minutes with him yesterday. We'll be doing our own projects through Full-Time Fantasy. Absolutely can't wait. Very grateful for the opportunity. I will be coming back to you on Saturday with possibly some bounce-back quarterbacks. No promises, but that looks like the next show, the next talking point on the docket. Until then, enjoy the rest of your week. Follow me on Twitter at The Real NFL Guru. Thanks for tuning in today. Until then, see you later.
Quit eating your burgers off a coffee table. If you want to eat a burger, put it on a bar. Follow your instincts to B-dubs for the new All-American Cheeseburger. Fresh, juicy beef smashed till it's crispy around the edges, covered in gooey cheese, and stacked to the ceiling with deliciousness. And knock that baby down with a frosted beer at the bar. Just like the sports gods intended. The new All-American Cheeseburger at Buffalo Wild Wings. Roar! Please drink responsibly.
Metro by T-Mobile has the best deal in wireless. Switch to Metro and get 2 lines for just $80 with Amazon Prime included. All month, every month. Plus, now get 2 free Samsung Galaxy J7 Star phones. Get the best deal in wireless today. Only at Metro. Plus sales tax and activation fee. $50 plus rate plan required. Not valid for numbers currently on T-Mobile network or on Metro in past 90 days. Offer subject to change. Offer valid for new Amazon Prime members. Amazon Prime has a $12.99 per month value. Eligible port required. Restrictions apply. See store for details and terms and conditions.